Hello and welcome to the all-new Marvel Roundup, the Southgate Media Group's guide to the Marvel Comics of the week, part of the Nuff Said podcast. I am Phil Parrish, and joining me, as always, is...
Charlie Esser!
Alright, my turn to start off, so I guess I will start with Nova number 5. So the issue opens up where the last one left off. Sam and his mom come home, the house was like trashed, his grandmother's in a panic, his sister's missing, and then the big purple alien looking thing comes out and grabs Sam. His mom attacks it, and
wait, the alien thing is still there?
Yeah, big purpley tentacle thingy.
Interesting.
But his mom gets Sam free, so he runs in his room, grabs his helmet. I guess his sister was like trapped in the gooey alien thing, so he gets his sister out, tells his mom they get to safety. She's like, no, it has my daughter. He says no. He's like, trust me, I'll get her out. But then the alien fights back. Sam looks like he's losing. That's when Rich Rider comes in. Flies in, tells him, he's like, Rich, how do you know he's here? And Rich tells Sam, do you want to talk or do you want to punch the monster in the face? And Sam says, definitely punch it in the face. So they're fighting it, and
that's the wrong choice, Sam.
Yeah, Sam's like, why are these things always after you? And Rich is like, I can handle it, and his face goes all purpley, and it looks like he's like absorbing the purple alien thing. And Rich is like, this is all my fault, I have to take it back. And Sam's like, back where? Sam's like, what haven't you told me? He says, I don't know, I'm still me, but something came back with me inside, and I can't get it out. And Sam's like, when we first met, you knew that monster, where it came from? And Rich is like, yeah. And Sam's like, you've been lying to me the whole time? He's like, that thing almost killed my mom and sister, and it came because of you. And Rich is like, I didn't know. That's when Sam starts hitting Rich. He's like, you lied. I brought you into my home. You lied about everything. And he yells, why does everyone lie to me? Thank you, Tony Stark.
Okay, not for nothing, Sam. Maybe you're just a bit too much of a hothead.
Well, he's a teenage kid, you know.
I know, but most recent episode of On the Line, there's this whole thing where David and one of the other characters realize that their fire chief is the arsonist. And they were like, so he's the arsonist. But then they're like, okay, that's fine that he's the arsonist. We'll deal with that. Right now, there's a forest fire we're dealing with. So let's deal with that. We'll deal with the arsonist after we're done with the forest fire because we know what's going on. We can deal with that. So, like, right now, he's like, oh, you lied to me? It's like, yes, I lied to you. Let's kill the monster. Maybe that should be our priority. Monster first, lying second. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But so then Sam's mom pulls him off Rich, and she's like, stop this. And he's like, he did it. He almost got you all killed. And he said, Rich is like, I'm sorry. I didn't want to hurt anyone. He said, I just wanted to come home. I wanted to come home so bad. I thought maybe I earned it. But that's not how it works. I didn't earn anything. I cheated. Then they see a big purple alien thingy in the sky. And Rich is like, I thought I could escape the Cancerverse, but it followed me back. Man, Sam's like, what do we do? And Rich is like, we don't do anything. You keep your family safe. This is all my fault. He's like, as long as I'm here, they'll keep coming. I'm the door, and I'm gonna slam it shut.
Wait, isn't the Cancerverse the Marvel Zombie universe?
I don't know if it's the actual zombies. I remember there was I know there was like evil versions of characters there, but I don't know. I don't think they were the actual zombies.
Okay, my confusion.
I really read like an issue or two of I think they did a flashback in Guardians or something. But yeah, I think it's full of evil. So Sam's trying to talk him out of it. Rich said, this is on me. He's like, sorry it took so long. So Rich takes off. He's absorbing the alien thing, and then he disappears. I don't know if he must teleport somehow to the Cancerverse. And Sam's like, he saved us. And then at the end, they show Rich in the Cancerverse. He says, all right, I'm here. Let's go. And then he hears a voice say, welcome back, Richard. You've been gone a long time. He's like, wait, I know that voice. How? And the voice says, look around. Things have changed since you left me, Richard. Many things have changed. And Rich is like, world mind? Dun, dun, dun.
Ooh, that's exciting.
Yeah, so I wonder if the Cancerverse must have corrupted the world mind.
Entirely possible. Okay, from that dark, disturbing universe, let's go to another equally dark and disturbing universe, the universe of Slapstick. Okay, trying to get Slapstick to open. My first purely digital purchase. Yay! Yes. So we open up, and we get basically this nice little recap and this little world, this overall dimensional view of Dimension X, which has all of the various electroplasm universes. And then we find out that basically after the adversary came and destroyed the Overlord, it became a G-rated hellscape. And that's the important phrase to understand, a G-rated hellscape, because essentially what we come to understand here, because as Slapstick, who's still mad about not everyone thinking he's the champion, says, hey, I'm the one that defeated the Overlord. And they go, look, you're the one that defeated the Overlord? You realize that made us all lose our dinguses, which, of course, is the overarching theme of poor Slapstick, because, of course, whatever he did altered the structure of the universe, made everybody essentially genderless. Or to be more specific, sexless while still gendered. And we see that the princess came after the Overlord was destroyed and restored order by creating a method by which people could still reproduce, which is that she has the storks bring babies. And they do a whole musical number, which everyone finds very impressive, and ask if they had rehearsed this beforehand. And you get this sense immediately that, yes, the princess is running a fairly fascist state as she controls the means of reproduction. We get a nice little point here that the name of the combination, the name of the alliance is Ek Victorious Independence League, which, of course, anagrams to evil. And the various Scratch members think that's maybe not the best acronym. Gorgonzola, the Sorcerer Supreme of the Universe, has allied with Scratch to capture the champion, which is, of course, Slapstick's best friend, who has been drawing the same 4 pages of his origin for the last few years. They meet a plumber who helps them who tells them how to save a princess. A lot of wackiness, cartoon logic, etc. They come in to face Gorgonzola, but Gorgonzola is actually the freaking Sorcerer Supreme of this universe, and quickly dispatches what Slapstick thought would be his the chair that I want to say Steve has been strapped to is actually a chair, Cherion, or he's Lazy Boy, which is a rapper transformer who turns into a chair, then later a dinosaur, and finally a nail. There is battle with Saret as he tries to manipulate the magic wand of Gorgonzola, though Gorgonzola points out he's the sorcerer freaking supreme of this universe. He doesn't need no wand. Battle. They eventually do defeat Gorgonzola. Saret and Slapstick do defeat Gorgonzola by nailing him to the wall with using a nail form of Lazy Boy as their nail. They escape. The good boys save them or release them, and they are all captured. They are all there. You have the Throne of Games, which is what the princess sits upon, which is a throne made of various board games and other things. Steve's taking pictures of everything because he says this will make a great reference next time I have to draw an evil mad slayer. not thinking, and then the princess starts her next song. The lightning strikes, and she says, "By any means necessary, expect the unexpected. My enemies must be corrected." Uh, and Slapstick says, "Hey, I did it the first time." We see that basically Gorgonzola gets melted down, and his electroplasm is put into various molds to create babies. Bum, bum, bum. So that is where babies come from. Oh, interesting thing. They have element X in a little sealed chamber behind the princess. We all remember Element X from the Powerpuff Girls. We found out that she has a monopoly on the baby market, and that's what won me the Throne of Games. And there's not a snowball's chance in heck I'm going to let a bunch of filthy outworlders take it from me. And it turns out that the prophecy was just a story made up by her scientist supreme to keep people loyal. And when the champion versus the adversary to the death, when you both lose, the princess wins. Next issue, less singing, more violence. Bum, bum, bum. Really liked this issue. It was a lot of fun. I gave it 4 stars. Slapstick's a good book, quite frankly. And very glad to have picked it up again, That's what I will say on that subject.
So that's a thumbs up.
Very big thumbs up, yes.
All right, then I guess I will go to Iron Fist number 2. We see Danny in a battle with someone I believe it's the, is it the Eel? It's some, we'll get to it, but they show Danny Rand in a battle and he's getting his butt kicked. And he's saying there would be another Iron, he's like, he knew this day would come, that he'd go back to being Danny Rand and not the Iron Fist anymore, but he's not ready for that yet. And they flash back to when he arrived at the island of Lu Shi, where Chosen brought him, remember? And he also meets a woman named Patience.
That's a virtue.
Uh-huh. And Danny's asking them what they all want with him, and they say their island, they're familiar with, is it Kunlun or Kunlun? Netflix has me all confused, but,
yeah.
They're familiar.
What does Netflix say? They say Kunlun?
I swear they've said it at least 2 different ways. I don't know. But,
yeah, you know what? I'm inclined to believe you are correct. Mm-hmm. It's both ways. Honestly, they're a little bit slipshod with their storytelling there, and I've enjoyed it, but yeah, a little slipshod.
But so they say Patience is telling him, like, Kunlun or Kunlun, they are dedicated to the perfection of Kung Fu, but they've been missing one thing, legitimacy. They're hoping through the trial of 7 masters, Danny can help them bring back legitimacy to what they've built. So basically, it's he's gonna go through a tournament through the head of the House of the Snake, the head of the House of the Bear, the House of the Rat. Chosen is from the House of the Bull. Patience is the House of the Rabbit, and Seng, who represents the House of the Eel. And Danny says, that's 6. I thought you said 7. And she says, the Divine Wolf could not be here to greet you. He represents himself and wanted time to prepare for the competition. And Danny says, you still don't tell me what this is about. And they said, we can, toil away perfecting our technique, but until we prove ourselves against the worthy adversary, what have we proven? And they said, so basically, you can help validate us. And they said, by testing himself against the champion of Kunlun. And Danny says he's still a little suspicious. Mystical Kung Fu Island no one's ever heard of. And Patience says we've spent a great deal of resources keeping ourselves off the grid. But basically they tell him for every master he defeats, he can absorb some of their chi, because they say they know he's been having trouble igniting the Iron Fist, so they say, in essence, you'll be able to replenish your own depleted supply.
Wonder if that has to do with the death of magic in the universe.
Maybe. But, so Danny agrees, and then they go back to the fight, where he's fighting, representative of the House of the Eel. They're fighting in the water. Of course, they're fighting in the water, like right off the beach. So, of course, the eel even has an electric eel strike. But Danny eventually defeats him, and he absorbs his chi.
Real quick question: is the eel here an old Spider-Man villain, the eel, or is this a new character, the eel?
No,
or is he another character named the eel?
No, I don't even know if his. Oh no, he just represents the House of the Eel. I'm sorry, his name is. I guess the champion's name is actually Eel of Blessed Waters.
Okay. It's not
the same villain now.
Okay. Just curious. Because that'd be cool if it was. It's like a kind of throwback villain there, but yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, Danny defeats him, and then he absorbs his chi, and he's, like, thinking to himself, I thought for sure they were lying, dangling a carrot to get him into the competition, but he's like, I can feel the chi running through my veins again.
That doesn't sound like that's going to end well. That's like vampire stuff, man. That's some black magic, man. That's going to end poorly for poor Iron Fist. His cheer is no longer pure.
Mm-hmm. And so, saying the head of the House of the Eels, he's upset. He's saying, this is unacceptable. We allowed this interloper to make a mockery of us. And Patience is saying, show a little decorum. We know this would be difficult. While he is an outsider, Daniel Kai is the champion of Kunlun. He has proven himself. And they're saying, we agree. And that's when the wolf shows up. Remember the one who's missing? He says, he tells the House of the Eel, if this Iron Fist is truly not worthy, then how did he defeat your champion? What does that say about you and your temple? And Sang says, easy for you to say, Wolf, when you face him last, after all our masters have broken him, weakened him for you. That's when the wolf takes him by the neck and says, if you believe that facing the Iron Fist last, after he's defeated the other 6 and absorbed their chi is easier, then you understand the stakes of this challenge less than I had previously thought.
Good point.
I wonder if it's someone we know, because once again, it's like a hooded, robed figure, and all you can see is like the bottom of his face, like his nose and his mouth.
Well, let's think here. There is, of course, Man Wolf, John Jameson. There is Cap Wolf, which gives us a nice Hydra connection.
But he doesn't look
there's
like a
Werewolf by Knife.
He doesn't look like an actual wolf. He looks like humans, or at least what I can see in his face.
Yeah, I'm guessing he's probably some sort of, I don't know. I mean, he could be a brand new character.
Or unless he's like from Kunlun or something, maybe like Danny knows him or something.
He's Larry from the copy room. Kunlun's copy room,
Yeah. So
he's the IT guy at Kunlun.
Mm-hmm. So then basically Patience tells everyone to calm down. She said, we made a promise to ourselves and our people to be better than Kunlun and not fall victim to the corruption that befell them, to not allow infighting to tear us apart. And
corruption caused Kunlun to fall apart?
I guess she's saying because there was like infighting in Kunlun.
Guess I missed that issue. Of course, I don't read Iron Fist, so I guess that would be why.
And basically, they want to the heads of this island. They want to replace Kunlun as the 7th heavenly city.
What is the 6th heavenly city?
There's 7.
Did they actually name all 7? Okay, if they actually name all 7, I won't. It's just I know they've mentioned it as one of the heavenly, and they mentioned that in the TV show. It's the 7th capital of heaven, one of the 7 capitals of heaven.
Yeah, and Ed Brubaker's run, they did a big tournament. Each one has like their own champion, like Fat Cobra and what are the other weapons?
Good old Fat Cobra. I like him. I like the bigger heroes, as an ample American myself. I like seeing heroes that reflect my body type.
And he has like the attitude. He could be he's like the kung fu mystical version of like Volstagg.
Yes. Volstagg is my spirit animal.
Oh man, that might have to be the title of this episode. Okay.
Tomorrow we battle, today we feast.
So then Danny's guide is guiding him to his next challenge, the Rat of 12 Plagues. who
Uh-oh.
his guide is telling him when the Rat of 12 Plagues was a child, his village was raided by a group who sought to run us off this island. They killed every man, woman, and child except for him, and the child survived on what he could. He was too young to know that it was a sin to eat the flesh of another. All he knew was so of course, he resorted to cannibalism. As always, death brought disease. Rather than succumbing to the disease, the child became one with it, learned to use it as another weapon in his arsenal.
Yay!
He basically lives in this abandoned village alone.
It's basically Plague the Morlock.
Yeah, basically everyone who's gone to this village has never come out. So Danny goes down, says, every ounce of his being is screaming at him to turn around, leave the village, but the promise of Chi, the possibility of regaining my identity, keep my feet moving even against my better judgment. Then he hears a voice, and he thinks he sees a figure in the darkness, but the figure's made up of just rats. And that's when he gets attacked from behind, and it looks like, well, what you would think. It looks like a rat guy.
Yeah, well, that'll do it.
To be continued. Dun, dun, dun. But
I'll tell you what. Oh, sorry. No. I'll give you a review, and I'm going to give my little coda to that.
No, I was just going to say, it's a thumbs up. The first issue, I was like, I don't know, but it's piquing my interest. I'm here for at least the next few issues.
Okay. Well, and I'll tell you this. Definitely get the next one, because, my favorite battle in all of Marvel Comics is from the Mutant Massacre. Plague the Morlock versus Sabretooth.
Oh.
And Plague the Morlock, who's just old bad lady, she's standing there and it says, and Sabretooth's like, I'm Sabretooth, I'm crazy, I'm going to eat you. And he's like, well, I'll just have to fight you blow for blow and touch for touch. And she touches his chin and he just crumples. Because that was Plague's powers. I infect you with a horrible disease. I turn your body against you. That's my freaking mutant power. And when you think about, as a power, that is awesome. That, of course, is why Apocalypse shows up the very next panel and says, Plague, hi, I'm Apocalypse. I'm putting a little team together. You should be my pestilence. And honestly, I think honestly, I just loved that scene. It stuck with me freaking, 20, 30 years later as just the best comic book battle you ever see, because it is this fact of a person overestimating their own power and underestimating the power of soft power, power that isn't punching, that internal strength, as Danny tries to tell the daughter of the dragon in Iron Fist. So yes, so definitely pick up the next issue. I look forward to hearing what happens between, although I know Danny will beat the rat guy because he's only the third one, but really that pestilence touch, that's a power, man. That's like pestilence touch is up there with super speed, It's like, it's like, yeah, you touched me and now you're dead, Whether I touch you or you touch me, still dead. So I like okay, so I guess I get a book next.
Yes.
Let's go to Champions. Number 7. This is an interesting book. Basically, the Champions have gotten arrested because these homeless guys said the Champions beat us up. And the Champions are like, we didn't do nothing. And the court of public opinion's already turning on them, but it's the internet, and the internet's a hate machine. And of course, for some reason, all of the young heroes know about the freelancers, but Vision doesn't know about the freelancers because, reasons. And that's the thing. I can imagine Sam Wilson, them being below Sam Wilson's pay grade, but the Vision is a supercomputer made personified. And then we get Boulder knockoff, Boulder with blue hair, anime Boulder. I hate her because granted, Boulder's too much of a hero to be a freelancer, but to give someone Boulder's power set and make her pretty, it's like okay. But she goes in with bombs strapped to her because that's her whole power. I got bombs. I'm going to blow stuff up, so you better run. There's people who got swindled out of their homes by the banks. And of course, this goes into this much more complex quality to things, which is that, there are laws and rules, and yes, people exploit the rules, but is that necessarily evil, and are you necessarily good because you fight these rules? And let me give you a little point here, because I want to touch on this real quick, because we're going to get into this on Super Connectivity, because a bunch of Secret Empire stuff dropped today. Statements and previews and thoughts and ideas. And you have this question about punching down, which is the essential question of the champions. Are you punching down? But if you are super powered, aren't you always punching down? Do you ever really? I mean, granted, even if you were punching someone who has powers as well, if nothing else, are you feeling emboldened and pure by your punching? Basically, they battle the freelancers. The freelancers admit their wrongdoing, blah, blah, blah. And then we get their big reveal, the big to heck with you to the champions. They show that the building they're building there at the people that have lost their homes is going to be called Champions Tower with the Champions logo, because it's a public domain logo. Ha, ha, ha. Which is such a teenager thing, but these are teenage superheroes, which again makes you wonder, maybe Hydra Cap is right. Because I think Hydra Cap might not stand for this kind of nonsense. Neither would our good friend Norman Osborn. I can't wait to see where Norman Osborn falls in the Hydra Cap storyline. But it's a fun book, a good book. Big thumbs up for Champions. I'm not going to say it was a bad book. I enjoyed it. Mustache twirling aside, I will say this for these stories. I do feel they are a little too black and white, but I think so. Like if I'm going to give the benefit to that, this black and white quality to it comes from the fact that it is this teen book. And because it's a teen book, it's almost as if, when you talk about older books, which were very black and white, but heroes were a lot younger then. I mean, I remember one point, Steve Rogers making the point that when he first became Captain America, he was a teenager. That he was maybe 2 years older than Bucky. That Cap is 18, Bucky is 16 at the start of World War II. Mm-hmm. And yes, they mature, but they still have that very youthful understanding of things. And yes, Cap has been unfrozen and Cap is the peak human, but that idea that, we're just young people who've been gifted with power and now we have to decide what we're going to do with it, kind of feeds into this idea that maybe that black and white world that the twirling mustaches of the bankers you imagine, might be far more complex than you even imagine, than you even think. And I think that is the story arc of the Champions, is we're starting out with this good and evil, and as an adult reader, I'm immediately saying, well, I can see the freelancer's point of view. But then again, maybe I'm just sort of a old man who wants these young kids off my lawn. So, but still I liked it. Big thumbs up.
Awesome. All right, then, speaking of immature, I guess I'll go to Spider-Man Deadpool number 16, Till Death Do Us Part 4. You may say, where's Part 3? Well, it was in the Mercs for Money. I didn't pick that up, so. It starts off in a plane. Spider-Man, Deadpool, and Cammy Van Helsing are going to get Dracula. Deadpool jumps out of the plane without a parachute, so he has to take off his uniform and use that as a parachute. So once they're all on the ground, they go
just out of curiosity, never mind. I mean, just, you don't have a parachute, you take off your uniform to use it as a parachute. Is that going to slow him any more than just falling straight? I don't really know. And honestly, it's how much less damage is he taking by that he couldn't just as easily get up after the fact, But it makes for a funny visual. Never mind.
Yeah. So then when they're on the ground, the mystical artifact Cammy brought takes them to a house where Dracula is supposedly at. And they're, Cammy and Spider-Man are like, well, what do we do now? What do we do now? Deadpool just goes up to the door, knocks, says, yoo-hoo, Dracula, you home? That's when an old lady answers. She's like, hello, or who are you? Are you lost? And Deadpool's like, my name is Deadpool. Are you Dracula? And that's when the old lady's like, Dracula, right this way. It's almost snack time for the master. And this is all translated from, I think they're in Latvia, so it must be Latvian. And Deadpool's like, thank you, chimney walrus fire hose. Yeah.
Because he doesn't speak Latvian. That's the gag.
Of course. Well, he's a mercenary. He's worked all over the world.
Yes, he speaks enough.
Yes. Then back in Manhattan, remember, Shikla got her hands on that device called the Sandman. She wants to try to put all the humans to sleep. Well, guess who she has working on it, Charlie?
Otto Octavius.
Michael Morbius.
Oh, him. He's good at that stuff. Mm-hmm. And he doesn't like vampires. Oh, no, he is. Does he like I forget. What's his feeling towards vampires?
I think he likes them now, but he goes back and forth. But,
don't we all?
Yeah. So I guess the Mercs for money are trying to stop her, but with her scepter, she can control Gorilla Man. So
he is mystical by his nature, so yeah.
Yeah, so he's knocking his the other Mercs around. Then back in Latvia, the others are sitting around. Deadpool decides to go to the bathroom, pulls the chain, and that's where the secret trapdoor is. The toilet throws you down the trapdoor. And then when Spider-Man goes looking for Deadpool, he finds the mystical artifact they brought in the bathroom. So I guess he figures that's where he went. So he flushes the toilet, but he's standing on the wall while he does it. So he just crawls down the trapdoor. Back in New York, the Mercs for money are still trying to get through to Gorilla Man, and he's knocking them around. Then back in Latvia, at the bottom of the whole Deadpool and Spider-Man find Dracula playing video games. He said after his last defeat, he was a wreck. He even contemplated walking into the dawn and becoming ash on the breeze. But he's like, but then I discovered this incredible piece of technology in the home of one of my slaves, and with it, once again, found meaning in my existence. Spider-Man's like, through a video game? And Dracula's like, oh, I've grown mighty. I have conquered thousands. Thousands!
Is he playing World of Warcraft?
Well, it's that one cameo.
Or the...
I don't know. That's that one Cam he said she in one of the previous issues said she was playing.
Oh, it's probably the one that Ms. Marvel plays. It's like that, we have that like default fake thing in your universe that you say, that's the one we use.
So they could basically come up with the agreement. If Cammy can beat Dracula in the game, he'll come back and help them, rally all the vampires against Shikla. And so Dracula, of course, has the character Dracula in the game, and he's level 16, and Cammy pulls up. She's like, I've been playing Deadpool for years. Deadpool's level 66, but she says, you want to know who my champion is? And it's Spider-Man, who's level 1. And he's like, you're going to beat Dracula with a level 1 avatar? So they're playing the game, and...
Not for nothing, but why do you want to play it that way? I mean, honestly... It's like, yeah, I guess, you have that boss battle and the min-max team, but still, it's like, I'll play my white weenie deck against you, know?
Well, for some reason, Cammy wins because she says she beats him, and she's like, I told you I've been playing as Deadpool for years, but I never told you I didn't play as anyone else. But, I mean, if she was playing as Spider-Man, too, I mean, why is he still level 1?
Yeah. Well, and I guess, like I say, when I used to play Magic the Gathering, you used to create what you would call a white weenie deck, which is it's all Pegasi, Walls of Air, and Unicorns. And I forget what the very lowest level was. And you'd create these, because they were all low-level characters, you just create these characters and have all this mana, and you'd pull it out. And it all look real weak, but you could defeat people real easy with it because, you could get everything out there real fast. Mm-hmm. So in that way, the lower powered characters have the greater advantage. There was a, I forget what it was. I think it was called Emergency Room before ER. Though it did have, it starred, I'm forgetting his name from MASH, the movie. Elliot Gould. It had Elliot Gould on it, and also the guy who was on ER, played Batman. Just married a lawyer. Married up if you ask me. But anyway, those guys are all in that series, and there's an episode where this guy who's volunteering there in the ER, he has to face death, and they do this. They play Monopoly, and the guy takes all the first half of the board, which is all the cheap places. And he trades Baltic Avenue for Boardwalk because whoever runs out of money first. And the idea is that if you have that low-level thing, people don't think much of it, but you can actually devastate people with it. Anyway, that's a random bit of random thing. Okay, enough of my randomness. I'm a random person.
So after Dracula gets ready and's coming back with the others, back in New York, Shikola's getting impatient with Morbius. She says, "Why is it taking so long? Aren't you supposed to be a scientific genius? Do I need to cut off your head and find myself another scientific genius?" And Morbius says, "If you could give me a little breathing room." And she says, "Why? You don't breathe." He says, "Of course I breathe. I am Morbius, the living vampire."
Okay, just step back a minute. Morbius is a biochemist.
Mm-hmm.
This is clearly, I mean, I guess it has a biochemical quality to it, but it's really a physics issue. As far as, the biochemistry of it is probably straightforward, or maybe not straightforward. Maybe it is complex, but I guess, this idea of expanding it, I guess it doesn't make horrible sense because it is a biochemical response you're creating.
But I get that. I mean, it's a handheld machine. You would think you would need like an engineer.
Well, yes. I mean, you would think that. Although like I said, I guess Morbius isn't horrible because it is causing a biochemical effect. So. Mm-hmm. I almost had a complaint there, Marvel, but I headcanoned my way through it to save you. So give me my no prize already.
But then the mercs with money come charging back in because Hit Monkey has talked Gorilla Man, back to normal. Yeah, monkey to monkey. So
ape to ape. I don't even think Hit Monkey's a monkey. I think he's an ape.
Is he? But why they call him Hit Monkey?
Because humans are specious.
Humans are species.
Quite frankly, honestly, because humans are really, really speciesist.
Yeah.
But I think he's actually a gibbon, which I think makes him one of the lesser apes. I think it makes him the one lesser ape, as opposed to the great apes like chimpanzees and gorillas.
False advertising, Marvel. But
Hit Monkey sounds better than Hit Ape.
So then Morbius throws the machine, the Shiklon, says, "My queen, go long. You must activate it with your scepter." And then they don't show who, but one of the mercs must shoot up Morbius, which we know will only slow him down. That's when Gorilla Man grabs the device, but it starts charging up, and he says, "I don't understand." And Shikla says, "What? You don't understand? He never said I had to hold the Sandman to activate it." She goes about, starts putting everyone to sleep. To be continued in Mercs for Money number 10, which I will not get. And the conclusion will be in Deadpool 29, which the cover is still classified, so.
Yeah, I might get Mercs for Money. I think I have 3 books next week. Okay. And honestly, it's like I hate not getting a book with Gorilla Man in it.
There you go.
Gorilla Man is one of my favorite characters ever since What If the Avengers Were Formed in the 1950s. Okay, so I've always had the strong love of Gorilla Man. He's like the Thing without rocks, and I love him very much. And so I do want to get a book with Gorilla Man in it. Mm-hmm. But too many books, Marvel. Which will get. Man, sometimes I think Marvel just floods the news feed with stupid stuff, so I don't get to talk about everything. In super connectivity, but we're going to try to get to that too. We're going to try to get to what my original topic was going to be, and then there's like 6 other topics we need to cover too. So, but yeah. So, what was your thumb score on that?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Okay, I've been really debating this, but actually, I'm going to make this my pick of the week.
Ooh,
Uncanny Avengers number 22, which I'm making it the pick. Despite some weaknesses, though there were weaknesses that you couldn't avoid, because this was just an awesome farewell book. Although it's not even the farewell book. It's just like, it was a great end to an arc, And even though we get like a hint at a start to the next arc, honestly, I'm like, this was such an emotional book to end on.
Yes.
After the defeat of the Red Skull, we get a little Deadpool narrative. He's worried about what everyone's going to do. It's like, they've never performed brain surgery before. What if on someone as horrible as the Red Skull, what if they actually do it right? And okay, not for nothing, I just got to say this here. Why did they leave the Red Skull's mask on while they were doing brain surgery on him?
Is it a mask, though?
Yes, it is a mask. The Red Skull wears a mask.
Well, yeah, because it's the 40s. It's the clone of the 40s. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It is only the 90s Red Skull that actually had his face converted to a Red Skull.
Mm-hmm.
And all because of Matt Salinger's Captain America. In Matt Salinger's Captain America, they came with this idea. It's stupid for him to wear a mask. Let's just make his face be a Red Skull.
Yeah.
And everyone else said, hey, that's a good idea. Sort of like how red kryptonite is introduced, kryptonite that makes you morally weak is introduced in Superman 3, which everyone hates, but it's still a great idea. The idea that the Red Skull has it's a great idea. I'm sorry, they keep on reusing it. You can't say it's not a popular idea.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a good idea. The idea that something makes you morally weak is kind of an interesting idea, almost like a drug for Superman,
Yes.
Because Superman can't get drunk, but the idea that he could experience red kryptonite, and you kind of deal with that in the Smallville thing, where when he gets mad about the world, he puts on the red kryptonite ring and goes off and goes just be him. But anyway, but as Deadpool says, what if they actually do it right? What if they don't lobotomize the Red Skull while they're trying to remove Xavier's brain? And man, these heroes, not going to try and actively just take off the Red Skull's head, because that seems to solve the problem just as easily, if you ask me. Quite frankly, putting the helmet on Johnny Storm and putting a 1940s Human Torch on the Red Skull seemed just as logical to me. Anyway, in walks Hydra Cap, tells Rogue, "Hey, I need to have that brain bit," and we do find out that's what it was like. The psychic parts of Xavier's brain were put into the Red Skull's head because I guess the Red Skull didn't need those parts of his brain.
No.
I guess arguably they weren't being used. I guess it's like they took out the parts that would be psychic in the Red Skull's brain, took those out and put in Xavier's brain. And I guess thankfully, well, you know what? Technically, I'm gonna headcanon this all to heck. So Dr. Frankenstein created a serum that would allow dead party parts to be reanimated and not be rejected by the host body. His great-grandson in World War II likewise rediscovered that formula and created his own Frankenstein, which the invaders fought. Ergo, Red Skull, with access to that formula, treated that part of Xavier's brain, installed it in his own with a little bit of that Frankenstein formula that keeps him alive. And because he was exposed to the Frankenstein formula, the Red Skull can come back to life at the end of Captain America. So there you go. Thank me later, Marvel. So in this scene, Cap is like, well, you should ought to give me that piece of brain because that's a weapon of mass destruction and you X-Men can't deal with it. And she's like, I'm sorry, did you not know I'm like a Omega level superhuman? I have all the powers of Ms. Marvel still from that one time we kissed. And so she flies up. She's got the box with Xavier's brain, which looks like a metal box, but I guess it's a cardboard box. And she tells Johnny to flame on it. And that bit of Xavier's brain with all the psychic stuff just goes as ash in the wind, which is a fitting end for it and deals with the problem. Much better than Hydra Cap would have dealt with the problem. I think we can all agree. And now my computer is loading, so as to what the next scene is. But I know basically we wind up at the Schubert Theater, and everyone's drinking and having a good time and ending off their story. Synapse is asking how she could have communicated to Cable in the future, and they do recognize that the loss of Cable is a big loss. And one of the best images of the Wasp, actually, there's when the Wasp leaves the party and they get that nice little circle with the Wasp flying out.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you, if I was a man who got a lot of tattoos, that would be a tattoo on me. That is a beautiful bit of artwork there. And we see Deadpool sneaking out of the party. We see Rogue coming to meet Deadpool. And we get a real nice, well, I don't know if it's nice or creepy or interesting, but we get a little bit of basically Rogue accepting Deadpool and kissing Deadpool and taking his power. And we see that she gets the splotchy skin and he gets clear skin again. And it's pretty neat, but he says, well, sure, you can accept my face and all this stuff. And of course, not for nothing, he knows whatever she takes from him, it's all temporary.
Mm-hmm.
And, he says, but you don't see my mind and what's in my mind. And so she gives him another kiss to take his full mind in. And then we basically get the crossroads of infinity and Deadpool and Wonder Man in Rogue's mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be our start of the next issue, is the return of Wonder Man. Also, I got to say, one of my favorite parts about this issue is the fact that its title is Rogue One. Because Rogue One. But no, it is my pick of the week because honestly, it's such a beautiful end book. I like this. I like superheroes relaxing after the battle, and it's real nice how that plays out. So yes, big thumbs up for the end of this arc of Uncanny Avengers. It was my pick of the week, even though Captain America is a real close contender.
Yes.
Captain America is a strong contender just from all the nerdery and the fantasticness. But what I loved about this was that it's an ending. This is a great book to end on, and I really appreciate that. And I liked how it ended. And so, yeah, I love that. So, there we go. I like that human story.
No, what were we going to say?
I said I like that human story, that
Yes.
story of the people. I think that's a stronger bet, but that's me.
All right, well then, since you did Uncanny Avengers, I guess I will do Avengers number 6.
Yay!
It opens up with the present and future visions checking on the teams, and future vision says you seem troubled, and present vision is like, we're on the cusp of losing 4 eras of Avengers. And present vision is telling future vision, you or me, having lived to the end of time, and it's disconcerting to learn that I am destined to outlive all whom I know and love. And future vision says, or are you? Consider Theseus's paradox. Theseus, king of ancient Athens, set out in a ship some claim sailed for over 9 centuries, but only by eventually replacing every last decayed board with a stronger one and a stronger one still until no original board existed. And basically he's using, the future vision says, so the question is, if every piece of a synthesoid body has been replaced, is it truly the same object? And present vision says, or something new altogether. I grant you that. He says, but the intangibles, your brain patterns, will forever be based on ex-Avenger Simon Williams. And that's when future vision just stands there, doesn't say anything, and present one's like, won't they?
Why should they?
Yes. So then in ancient Egypt, Spider-Man's telling Hulk, Hulk, break weapon thingy, and Hulk says, oh, for God's sake, I'm not stupid.
Yay! It's Intelligent Hulk from the early Avengers.
Yes. Spider-Man's like, don't let them fire down into the fusion reactor, and Black Knight says, why? We're about to bomb the joint. What difference does it make? And Spider-Man's like, I thought maybe, I don't know, we could get everyone out alive first. That's when Hercules, is that a pipe or like a water tower thing? But he basically like floods the chamber, and they're the Avengers are trying to get out, and Spider-Man says, "Wait, I didn't set the fuse." And Sam Wilson says, "Don't worry, I got it," and he uses his shield to set it off. They go. They accomplished their mission. They eradicated Kang's weapons cache. The bomb's energies are feeding into the time tether. 2 more blasts like that, and Kang is toast. Then on the planet Sacnia in the year 7215, Kang is trying to steal the future of all the Avengers, which Captain Marvel looks like she's beamed back to Avengers Mansion, but since of course she has no future, Jarvis doesn't know who she is. And both Thors, their Mjolnirs are both disappearing. They each are holding half in their hand. But they combine the 2 halves, and I guess Mjolnir recognizes itself because it becomes like one hammer.
Yeah, don't mess with the Storm Goddess.
Yeah. And then Hank Pym finds the device that was taking away their futures and reverses it. And old Thor's
So that's what happened with that. Okay, that makes much more sense.
Yes.
When I was doing a skim of it in the store, I thought he just created a device to do that.
No,
out of pure hand wavium. So okay, so it's based off of other technology he encountered.
Yeah, he basically shrinks down into the device and rewires it.
Positive to negative, negative to negative. There we go.
And it's and then Captain Marvel blows it up, but it's funny. Old Thor says to Jane, "I would still care to know how thou didst procure mine hammer," and she says, "I bet thou wouldest."
Still do to this day.
Mm-hmm. And then the other team is in the year 4022, and Iron Man says they want to have a plan, and Captain America, Steve Rogers says, "I'm working on one, but we have to tread carefully. This is Kang before the Avengers met him. We have to escape, eradicate his army, and set off our bomb without drawing too much attention, or else we change history." And She-Hulk says, "Forgive me and my lawyer brain, Cap, but isn't that the evidence before us? Aren't we supposed to topple Kang's empire? Isn't changing history exactly what we came here to do?" Steve's thinking about it, and he says, "New plan, hit anything and everything until it's rubble."
There you go.
She-Hulk
but
says,
is this Hydra Cap? That's the question we need answered.
I don't know.
Yeah.
She-Hulk's like, "I feel very smart right now." So battle. And then right as Kang's about to blast them, all his equipment starts disintegrating, and Iron Man says, the Egypt team was dispatched to erase these very weapons 70 years ago. The results took a while to surf the time stream, but here they come. Then there was a bomb. Wasp gets rid of the bomb. So then Kang's armor's even disappearing, and they're like, "Depowered, destitute, and ready for prison at long last. Hulks, if you'd care to do the honors." But then they get blasted. Scarlet Centurion and Immortus come in. Immortus,
yes. Future versions of Kang. Although I actually thought that Scarlet Centurion predates Kang.
But I guess they're both in Kang's future, though.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we don't really know where Scarlet Centurion fits in that. We just know that he's a time-traveling villain who met the Avengers before Kang met the Avengers. Mm-hmm. So actually, it kind of makes sense that maybe he would be a future Kang going back in time to beat the Avengers before they met Kang, and then still gets defeated. Mm-hmm. So, headcanoned.
Mm-hmm. So Iron Man says, "Well, all we did was trade one Kang for 2. How can they even exist? After all this, we failed to change Kang's future." And then a third one comes in, Charlie. It's Victor Von Doom.
Victor Von Doom?
At least that's what it looks like. It's his armor, but he says, "Fools, by bearding the lion in his den, you have cornered us at the time and place where our powers are at their greatest." And even the old Janet Van Dyne is like, "Is that Doom?" And Namor's like, "I had no idea he was an incarnation of." And they're blasting the Avengers. Looks like they're disappearing. Hank Pym runs away, and all the, Immortus and the others are like, "Oh, even though he's the biggest, he's the least among them." That's when Hank pulls out the device he brought with him from the future and starts, looks like he's vacuuming up Immortus, Scarlet Centurion, and Doom. And all the Avengers are back, and the Hulk says, "Explain to the back of the class," and Hank Pym says, this device literally steals the future out of any person or object, leaving it permanently trapped in its current state. For Kang, I threw it into overdrive, erasing the actions of his future selves. And Future Vision biotelemetrically copies the circuitry so he can return each team to its proper time with no memory of its own future.
That's helpful.
Except for the present guys, they all have their memories. And Sam's after they get back to the present, Sam's apologizing to everyone. He says, looks like a net loss. Kang's timeline will always trump our power. And Vision says, not necessarily, Samuel. Remember, his entire future is now held captive within the weapon Dr. Pym used, which, if I do say so myself, is now in the most trustworthy of hands, which is the Future Vision. It would seem to me that now all of Kang's future is yet to be determined. We are at last free of his villainy, and time is once more calmed. I would suggest we savor the victory and hope there are no consequential aberrations in the time stream. Meanwhile, 37 stories below, it says, we see a hallway. We see a flash of light at the end of the hallway. And as it zooms in, I'm guessing it's a tomb, because it says, here lies Avenger X, bravest of us all. To be continued.
Yeah. Oh, remember we saw him in some of the Future Vision stuffs. Okay. Sounds good.
Thumbs up.
Yeah, I still don't trust Future Vision. I'm just going to say that right now.
Yeah.
And he was eyeing those future Kangs in some malevolent ways. I'm just saying.
And if it's and if his mind isn't based on Simon Williams' Wonder Man's brain patterns, like present Vision, then whose brain patterns are in there?
Could be anyone's. Could be the Vision's own, and maybe the Vision is not as good without Simon Williams. Bum bum bum. Okay. So a bit we left out of the Uncanny Avengers arc, which gets touched on here, is that Skull escapes.
Mm-hmm.
Intentionally, unintentionally, we're not sure, but we're opening up with the and here.
Well, wait. Tell everyone this is Captain America Steve Rogers number 15.
Oh yes. So here's what I'm going to say. The art department between 15 and Uncanny 22 did not communicate, because what do we see on, what is this, page, got splash, got intro page, first page, third page, we see Johan without his mask. Because you don't perform brain surgery on someone while he's wearing a mask. You see him with his little red hair, and I'll accept that's as good of a Johan as we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. We have seen some Johans in the past. We have seen him a few times without his mask, and I don't ever remember him being a redhead before, but we'll go along with it today. I'm assuming that's him because he's strapped down with a thing around his neck. Anyway, but we see here that basically Sin frees him. Mm-hmm. And takes him back to his secret villa, only to be confronted by Captain America. And then we flash back to the 40s, where Captain America first confronts the Skull, and they have a back and forth. Meanwhile, in the present, Hydra has taken over Sokovia. Oh, look, Garrett is there. Obviously, Hydra taking over a country in Eastern Europe is a catastrophically destabilizing event for the region and the world. But then we received this message on a secure channel, which is the Skull saying, hey, I've got nuclear weapons. Don't mess with me. Flashback to the past. Cap quickly defeating every Hydra agent that the Skull can throw at him. Skull, take off the dang mask. I mean, really, it's not your face. He's sitting there being all calm and collected, because he's got his ace in the hole, but we'll see that in a minute. We see Cap and the Red Skull. Oh, and great thing back in Uncanny when the Skull is being loaded into the ambulance and saying, all your minds are so quiet. Mm-hmm. He misses the cacophony of people. But you know what? He's the Red Skull. Which again raises this big question: when did Red Skull girl in her birthday issue? because it can't be this Skull now, because this Skull has an unfortunate accident at the end of the story. And it can't be a Xavier Skull because he's got brain powers. So when does the Red Skull attack? I don't know. But moving right along.
Wait, what?
You know, in the Squirrel Girl, what was it 20th anniversary issue?
Okay. Yeah.
21st anniversary issue. Her party is crashed by the Red Skull, and she and all of her superhero friends quickly defeat the Red Skull. They'll let him go. I don't know why. And it was just one of those items of, it's clearly not an Xavier powered Red Skull because he wouldn't engage in that way. And it can't be a depowered Red Skull. I guess perhaps it's a Red Skull that before he gained Xavier's powers. I don't know.
You can always headcanon it. It's like perhaps the Red Skull's held a cosmic cube before. Maybe it's like a time traveling Red Skull.
Yeah, well, she has fought a time-traveling Doctor Doom several times, so we'll go along with that. Anyway, and this is what I think is this great bit, because you get this final confrontation between Cap and the Skull, and it says, the Hydra I remember was a proud ancient order, one that valued strength above all else. It demanded sacrifice. And you see the Skull go... Rogers says, "What have you ever sacrificed, Schmidt? When have you done anything for the glory of anything other than yourself?" Says, "Get back! I commanded. I think I've listened to your commands long enough. Actually," says Kryn, Sin, Crossbones. "No one is going to help you, Skull. It's just us now. You don't remember it, but a long time ago, you cost me something very dear to my heart. The thing I had dedicated my life to, my purpose. You took it and you twisted it and poisoned it to suit your own sick aims. What you did back then put me on a different path, but maybe I should thank you for that. You see, all that suffering and sacrifice, it made me stronger. You may not understand that, so let me show you how much stronger." And he goes, no. Oh, wait, let me flip back here because I have to find that. Says you. So before that, he says, "You see what you have done. You will explain yourself at once, Captain. I'll certainly try, Supreme Leader. It can be difficult. I have failed you. It's because of who I am and what I believe. Things that go back a very long way. I've tried to serve with complete dedication. Yes, you serve me." And it says, "No, you misunderstand. I serve Hydra." It says, "They are one and the same. You fool, I am Hydra." Says, "Are you? Are you just something you stole?" Then we get to the fight, throws him out the window. Cut to Sharon Carter, who's dealing with the fact that Hydra's taken over, and Sharon has to move, but no one wants to take the freaking woman's word for it. They say, "No, we need Cap to vouch for this." It's like, you know what? You want to take Hydra Cap's word for this when Sharon Carter, dedicated S.H.I.E.L.D. member, wants to tell you we got to nip this Hydra thing in the bud, and then we cut back to Cap and Skull and says, "You idiot! You think you can replace me? I made you. Every memory you have, every belief you think you hold, I imagined it up. It was all a fantasy, all a dream. Do you hear me, Rogers?" Says, "I hear you, but that's just what you didn't understand. I'm loyal to nothing, Skull, except the dream." I thought he actually mentions that he knows that Kobik took him over here. I keep on misremembering things. Maybe I'm reading too much. Anyway, I kind of feel that the big story here is that Cap knows he was rewritten by Kobik. Cap knows this, but he doesn't care anymore. Because for who he is, the dream of Hydra is still the dream of Hydra. And I'll get to that in super connectivity because I think there is a strong argument to be made for where Cap is coming from right now. He is a horrible, horrible villain. But you know what? Every so often when the villains take over, things aren't so bad. Remember Emperor Doom. And you see that Crossbones and Sin both acknowledge Cap as the Supreme Leader. Says, "Was it correct?" And Cap says it was, and Sin says pity. And it says, I still don't get it though, Rogers. The Skull was right. His plan don't work without Xavier's brain. It's not his plan, Crossbone. It never was. It's mine. And we'll have all the help we need. And we see all the gang show up. We see Gorgon and Madame Hydra and Faustus and Arnim Zola and Gorgon and Hive and little old Cap. And he looks back to 1945. Says, we see him talking to Elsa. Because, of course, Cap had to walk away because Skull had Helmet. And he wouldn't let Skull kill Helmet. And he says, I'm so sorry, Stephen. I wanted to tell you. I knew you wouldn't defeat him. I knew it was not yet your time or ours. Hydra is broken. We sought to use the Reich to further our goals, and instead we've been subsumed by it. It's a fitting end. I do have some experience making deals with the devil after all. And then she basically tells them that the Allies have a weapon of unbelievable power, and they call it the Cosmic Cube. And one of the things I love about this is, like, among the scientists they have working on the Cosmic Cube, like, one of them kind of looks like the movie version of Zola, whereas the comic book version of Zola at this time kind of looked a lot like Doc Ock. So it really shows you how bad Kobik is at imagining the past that she's creating. But a big thumbs up for Steve Rogers, Captain America. I think there is a lot of power here. There's a lot of interesting things going on here, and I can't wait to read Secret Empire, which we're going to talk a lot about in Super Connectivity this week. Okay.
All right. Well, then I guess we're to our last book. My pick of the week, X-Men Gold #1. The $4.99 X-Men Gold #1.
Oh, goodness.
But it starts off with, the first page is Lydia Nance on the Fact Channel, saying, why does the world hate and fear mutants? She's like, I've often had occasion to wonder in a world of Inhumans, Asgardians, Spider-Men, and women, and all manner of enhanced individuals, what particular threat do mutants pose? The answer is the genome. Mutants are the only phylum that spontaneously enhances. The X genome is a ticking evolutionary time bomb. And someone's saying it just sounds like you're splitting hairs, trying to justify what some would categorize as racial prejudice. She says racial prejudice is based on aesthetic distinctions, skin color, or epicanthic folds, for example. What I'm talking about is a condition that creates human beings of mass destruction. Now, you can dismiss these concerns as prejudiced or bigoted, but I can weather such accusations. Let me assure you, my organization is hell-bent on protecting the world at whatever cost. Then they show this team of X-Men, like, out in the city in the middle of battle. Kitty says, to me, my X-Men, and Old Man Logan says, always wanted to say that, haven't you? And she says, like, you have no idea. And they're fighting Terrax. And
yay, Terrax.
All right, Rachel Gray's on this team. How is
he still around, just out of curiosity?
I don't know.
That's always a question for me with Terrax. It's like, how many times does Galactus have to strip him of the power cosmic that he doesn't come back as Terrax?
Well, they kind of say something about that because, Rachel Gray on this team, she has a new name, Prestige. Prestige says, isn't Terrax supposed to be dead? Colossus says, so was I. Nightcrawler says, me too. Old Man Logan says, I hear there's a me that still is. And Prestige says, I was hoping for an X-Men or a champion to show up. And Logan says, quit whining, call the play boss. And Kitty says, our ground game's not working. I think Nightcrawler says mostly because Terrax controls the ground. She says exactly, and that's why we're going to put the ball in the air. She tells Storm and Prestige to get in the air, take him for a ride. And I guess one of his earthquakes is about to topple a building. So while Storm and Prestige have Terrax in the air, and Storm hits him with lightning, Kitty says, Nightcrawler, teleport Logan and I to the roof. And Colossus is going to try to hold the building up. And Kitty says, Logan's going to jump and help Storm and Prestige. And he says, I am? And Kitty says, I'm going to phase the building so it doesn't destroy the whole block when it falls. And Nightcrawler's like, you're gonna phase an entire skyscraper? And she's like, try not to sound so skeptical. So Logan jumps up to help the other two, and Prestige knocks out, I guess, Terrax with some debris she picked up telekinetically. Colossus says it can't hold up the building, it's coming down. Kitty says, that's alright, I got this. So then huge crowd shows up, and the rest of the X-Men are like just looking at the crowd, and they're like, if the Avengers or Champions were here, they'd be cheering by now. Anyone seen Kitty? Kitty phases out of the debris. She goes, I could really use a beer. And Logan says, you have no idea how old it makes me feel hearing you talk like that. And Kitty goes to address the crowd. She says, my name is Kitty Pryde. I know I should have a code name, but I don't. I guess I'm a little indecisive after all these years. She says, I'm the X-Men's leader. I just want to make sure everyone is okay. And one of the children says, I'm okay. And her mother says, don't talk to it, dear. And Kitty's like, it? Really? And the mother's like, sorry, mutant, homo superior, enhanced individual, whatever the politically correct term for your kind is these days. And Kitty says, I think you're searching for the word person, human being if you're feeling charitable. She says, but I see you're not. And surprisingly, I understand. I know it's a long way back. You never exactly trusted us, and after the whole war with the Inhumans, and I know to the extent you never trusted us. We have a long way to rebuild trust, but we're starting today. And then, of course, back at the mansion, which is now in Central Park, Charlie, the X-Men are playing baseball again.
Yeah. Okay. So when is New York City's lawyers going to come up to them and say you cannot be in the middle of Central Park?
This gets addressed, Charlie.
Okay. Yeah. Because I want a legal brief to be filed. I want someone to have to call a lawyer. I want to see what form 672A gets filed on this.
Well, a guy from the
there are building codes and all sorts of things they have to deal with.
A guy shows up in the mayor's office, the city register specifically. He tells him he has some paperwork, and they say we signed about a phone book's worth of when the mayor agreed to let us relocate here. And Kitty's like, what is this? And the guy says, just an invoice for the first 6 months lease payments as well as property taxes for the parcel you're occupying, which comes to a grand total of $18 million.
Well, yeah, it's in the middle of freaking Central Park.
Oh, yeah, that's what the guy says. This is Central Park, arguably the most valuable residential real estate in the entire world.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, there's a reason you don't build there. It's
That's when Logan asks Kitty, do you want me to claw him? And then that night, I guess Nightcrawler and Storm are watching that show from page 1, and Nightcrawler saying the more things change, the more they stay the same. And Storm says, she says, there's another saying favored by Magneto, the past is prologue, and Nightcrawler says, I'd appreciate you not quoting Magneto of all people. It's Shakespeare, in fact. And Storm says, maybe we're returning to our roots, our history, perhaps all the trials and tragedies. We are returning to what we were. And Nightcrawler says, outcasts, and she says, heroes. And he says, you're actually sounding hopeful. And she's still down about leading the X-Men into a war. And Nightcrawler says, the X-Men didn't lose, my dear. And they're still watching the TV, and Storm says, didn't we?
Yeah. They lost many heroes.
Yeah, and that's when Rachel Gray's working out with the some of the kids in the danger room, and she's telling them her new name's Prestige, and one of them says new code name, and she says Kitty's idea, and what he goes, color me surprised. That girl changes code names the other way people change socks.
She's had 2. She was Sprite and Shadowcat. That's all of them.
Or wasn't she like Ariel or something at one point? I thought there was another one.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't know. She's no Hank Pym. Or even a Hawkeye who was Hawkeye, Colossus. No, he was Hawkeye, Goliath, and then Hawkeye again. Okay, so he only had two. So, but yeah, so she's basically like Hawkeye. She has got
Yeah.
two. It's not that many Weapon X.
So,
So don't be judgmental.
yeah.
Logan, Weapon X, Wolverine.
Well, it wasn't Wolverine saying it, so
Oh, I thought that's who said it.
no,
I'm
it's
sorry.
like
Who said it?
it's like some of the new X-Men, some of the kids. Who's
Like
the
they're
one?
not going to go through six
Yeah.
code names in the next 4 issues. Come on.
Well, Rachel just says she said Kitty thought Phoenix and Marvel Girl were too rooted in the past. She wants me looking forward, and they're like, yeah, for real, I don't know how it happened, but I'm glad she's in charge. But meanwhile, Kitty's in the office, thinking to herself, maybe it's not too late to go back to the Guardians of the Galaxy or trapped inside a bullet, traveling through space. That was fun. That's from Joss Whedon's run. I'd even settle for being an immortal demon ninja psychic puppet right about now. And she's like, this used to be your desk professor. I think of you a lot, almost every day. I survived the experience, and that's when Colossus comes in. And he said he ordered dinner, and she wants to know if she wants to join him, and she says no. She goes, I mean as friends, sure, always, no problem, but you didn't mean as friends. And he says, is it ever that simple with us? She says, no, I love you, I always will, but I've moved on, I'm sorry. She says she's thinking if there's any kind of god at all, someone will attack the city right now. Rachel runs in, someone's attacking the city. She goes, great, now I feel just like the worst person ever.
Oh my.
And then while they're getting ready, Rachel's like, what did I interrupt between you and Peter? And Kitty says, I really don't want to talk about it. And Rachel says, you remember I'm telepathic, right? And Kitty says, you remember I could phase my pinky into your eye socket and solidify, right? And that's when they're getting on the Blackbird. Kitty saying what's happened. Storm says someone is attacking the United Nations building, a 5-person unit, according to S.H.I.E.L.D. And that's when Kitty's like, Rachel, pull the information from Storm's memory and download it all to us all en route. And then Kurt, you're driving. They get to the United Nations. They teleport down, and the 5-person unit, Charlie, the new Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
Uh-oh.
Dun dun dun.
Who are the new Brotherhood? Do we know?
Looks like Pyro, Avalanche. I'm assuming that's Magma, maybe.
Well, she's not a mutant. Oh no. Oh, Magma. Yeah, she's a mutant. Wasn't she a new mutant?
I think, yeah. I mean, that's what it looks like. I can't confirm, but that's who it looks like. A hooded figure who I'm thinking is Mask, and some, I don't know, some green-looking reptilian-looking dude.
Okay.
But
we'll go along with it.
Yeah, no, it's my pick of the week because I mean I'm excited now for X-Men. Like I haven't been excited for X-Men in a while, like years.
Well, good, man. A little bit of the past, a little bit of the future. That's what you need, you know? You need to remember the past and look towards the future. Because, you know, you need the basic story that intrigues you, but have it move forward.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, that's the thing about any story. It's like it has to be. So, I mean, you look at Hydra Cap. What I find most fascinating about Hydra Cap is that he's still this intense idealist. It's just that now his idealism is more akin to to Doom's idealism. But it's not a hubristic idealism the way Doom's is. It is just it is what I like to refer to as a greed for all Ferenginar. And this idea that, you know, you can have this very intense, insane perspective on the universe, but if it is arguably that intense, insane perspective on the universe for all people, it has its own goodness to it and its own merit. Although we'll talk about that.
I was going to say, that's enough.
Super connectivity.
You want more? Yeah, join us on Super Connectivity. All right, so I guess that is it. Join us next week. But if you want to send us your thoughts, especially on books we don't read, you keep hearing that. Email us, marvelroundup@gmail.com. Facebook is facebook.com/allnewmarvelroundup. Twitter is @marvel_roundup. We're even on Instagram, Marvel Roundup. And Charlie Esser, where can people talk to you about all things down to earth and cosmic?
You can always write to me in an old-fashioned email way at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word for some reason, at gmail.com. And, of course, follow me on the Twitters at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle for quality.
And as for me, you can always email me, nightwingpdp@gmail.com. On Twitter, I am at nightwingpdp. And check out all the podcasts I'm on here all over Enough Said. Legends of DC, Before the Bat, Channel 52, and I guess now This Week in Geek. So check out all those fine products. All right.
Hardworking man, Phil.
Yeah. Anyway, join us next week. You'll kick yourself if you don't. But anyway, well, seriously, why wouldn't you join us? I mean, have you been brainwashed by Cosmic Cube? Are you attempting to rule the world? But anyway, email us, and as you heard, Volstagg is Charlie Esser's spirit animal. Which spirit animal is your spirit animal?